Executive Director of Sobrius Health. Now, a lot of you probably have never heard of Sobrius Health, and that's what we're going to find out and learn a little bit more about today. I know that they had their grand opening, or ribbon cutting, here about a week ago, so thank you, Angela, for being with us.
No, thank you for inviting us.
All right, let me ask you a little bit. When we hear of Sobrius Health, tell me a little bit about it and what its goals are.
Okay. So the main goal of Sobrius is to kind of change the face of addiction. A lot of people have stigma when it comes to, someone who they call an addict, and there's a lot of negative tone to it. And they really want to change that. It's much like having diabetes or a disease, and they want people to be able to realize that. So our program is designed to not have a lot of shame based to it. And to have more of empowerment, and we do a lot of what they call guided imagery, care therapy, and so their main goal is to get as many programs out there as they can. It's not like a typical hospital setting. This is like a beautiful home, relaxed, comfortable setting.
All right, so let's talk about that. When I hear the word Sobrius, I think of sobriety. Yep. So we're your health Sobrius deals with people that have addictions.
Drugs, alcohol.
When you talk about drugs, is that prescription as well as the harder drugs?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Now, when you talk about a home, I know that you have also a home in Galax. I've heard of that home before, but you're bringing it here a little closer to home, a little closer to us here.
Absolutely.
Now, when you say that this program is not like maybe a lot of other programs, how would it be any different? Tell me how you are different and how you're making it work.
So for one, it's not a locked, secure facility. If people decide that it's not for them or they want to leave, they can. Now, we do make sure that that's in a safe way as possible, so we try to make sure they have a ride if they are going to leave, and a place to go and that kind of thing.
So this is not a place for people that are on drugs or alcohol just to hang out.
Right. This is if you got to be serious about getting clean and getting sober. Because it's not a locked facility, and most places are. It also a lot of places are very hospital-like, and this obviously is not. It's very homey and comfortable beds, and they can kind of, when they're not in structured classes, they can kind of come and go as different rooms and watch TV, play games, go for a walk on one of the trails. Lots of different things that they can do that wouldn't typically happen in other programs.
But now some people might worry if they have a loved one that's in this program, when you talk about going out and walking on the trails, what about if they're making contact with other people that might be a supplier for them?
So they'll always have staff with them.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything that we do, there is staff always around. I mean, there is obviously some trust, but there won't be anyone coming onto the property. People aren't allowed on the property. There will be security system in place. So,
all right. So when you talk about the 30-day program, walk me through a little bit of that. What do you do, and what do you do maybe different than other facilities would?
Okay. So initially, when they go through and they get accepted, their first day there, everyone comes in at the same time. That's another thing I love about the program is everyone starts and ends on the same day. It's a challenge.
So they form friends, bonds.
Yes.
Okay.
The other reason for that is so that you're not having people come in at different spots throughout your lessons. Because one of the main key components of our program is called care therapy, and it's a guided imagery. And it allows you to kind of take a journey through some of your negative emotions, and then find ways to let that out and bring in some positive emotions. And you everyone couldn't be on the same page or same story if they started at different times.
Now, when you talk about this treatment,
Mm-hmm.
the counselors,
Mm-hmm.
all of them licensed?
Licensed or under supervision to be licensed, yes.
Okay, counselors. Now, when you talk about accepting people, is there anything that would disqualify someone from entering your program?
Yes, so they do have to be technically detoxed. So if someone was to arrive under the influence or going through severe withdrawals, then we would not be able to accept them. So they would have to go through that detox part first.
Now, a lot of people are thinking, I know someone that needs this program,
Mm-hmm.
but it comes with a cost.
Mm-hmm.
So how do people pay for this?
So,
How do you get paid?
We accept Medicaid, we
Okay.
accept private insurance, we accept private pay, and then sometimes there are grants and things. Other agencies, like sometimes community service boards, give some money towards it, or churches, other people. So there is grants sometimes as well.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get that out of the way, because I'm sure that people feel like they might not be able to qualify or financially. But again, walk me through some of the daily activities
Okay.
that these people experience once they come to Sobrius.
Okay. So obviously they will have a daily and a weekly chore, each person. So in the morning when they wake up, it might be everyone makes their bed,
Sure.
Gets that stuff ready. They'll have breakfast. Our food is locally raised and grown, which is very nice. There's a farmer just down the road from us that we get our beef from. And so our cooks are really amazing cooks. If anyone came to the open house, they probably got to sample some of their good food. And so that's how they start their day, with a really nutritious breakfast, and then they move on to different groups. There's the care therapy that we talked about with guided imagery. There's life skills lessons, teaching them how to do laundry, how to keep a good house, how to take care of stains if they're in the carpet, just all kinds of life skills that they will learn along the way. They'll also have group counseling, individual counseling, and then in the evening they have an AA-NA group as well. That has to be part of every residential treatment.
Okay. So they're provided 3 meals a day.
3 meals a day, and they do have someone's chore maybe to help with the kitchen and learn how to prep. Just anything you can think of in a house. There's, especially the size of this house, there's lots of things that need to be done on a daily basis. So each person is learning a different skill. And then in the evening they have some downtime. There's 3 different areas, like living room areas, so they can be watching different shows if they don't all want to watch the same thing, or they can be working on puzzles, doing crafts. We try to keep them as busy as possible. We've also got a computer area so they can put together a resume, look for jobs and things like that.
Now, does Sobrius help them with this, particularly
yes.
toward the end of their stay there?
Yes, absolutely. We want to make sure that they're not just leaving the program with nothing in place for them once they're done. So we have a couple of options. One is we have a transition home. It's called a partial hospitalization. In Collinsville, and that if they need to change their people, places, things, or they don't have a place to go, they can go into this transition home for another 30 days while we're helping them look for an apartment, look for a job, those kinds of things. And then if they do have a place to go, then we're looking to connect them with their local community service board or providers in their area, psychiatrists, whatever needs they have, so that they don't just leave the program and then have nothing. We want to make sure that they're wrapped around.
Okay. Now, Tell me, you talked about a house and a big house. Where is it located?
So it's 9850 Virginia Avenue. That's just on 220, just past
220 North?
220 North, just past Meadowgreen Market. And it's a beautiful brick, I call it a mansion. It looks like one when you're driving up to it. And we can house up to 16. We're going to start with 8, just so we, get our feet wet and get to experience it as well, because we've trained for it, we've talked about it, but we haven't yet opened. So we're going to start with 8 originally.
So many people know of someone, have a loved one. It could be a child, it could even be a parent.
Absolutely.
That needs this help.
Yeah.
In order to transition. How would you tell them to go about either finding out more about the program or getting involved in the program?
Okay. Well, they can always go to the website, sobriushealth.com, and that has stories on it, and it has, more details about what we do in our program. They can also call the admissions line, which I have right here, 276-601-2736, and get information or start the admission process.
Now, when you talk about you want to start with 8, you want to start with 8, but you haven't actually opened yet.
Right.
So when is the projected opening date?
We are hoping for somewhere around the 20th or the 28th.
Of this month? Of February?
Yep. We're just finishing up a few things, and hopefully we'll get that final inspection done, and they'll say, you're good to go.
Okay. So someone individually, if they feel like that they need that care, or if you have a loved one that you want them to get into the program, best thing to do is call the admissions office.
Absolutely. Yep.
And they'll walk you through the steps of what it takes, how to do it.
Absolutely.
Question: when you talked about Medicaid or private pay, is there a payment plan if someone wants to pay it?
That is a good question that I will have to get back to you on.
Well, I didn't know, and I'm just trying to think of all the questions that someone might have.
Yeah.
But if they do need some kind of help, you said there were grants available in some cases.
Yep.
I'm sure the person in admissions will work with them to get them in the program.
Yes.
Now, one other thing that I was thinking about, is there someone on staff there 24 hours a day?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
We have staff around the clock.
Okay, 24 hours a day.
7 days a week. Yep.
So you're telling me that if someone decided, well, I want to go out tonight, they can't go out tonight.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Someone is monitoring them.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right, that's what I wanted to know. So what we're looking at is Sobrius. You're new in the area.
Yep.
And you work with people that have been involved with drugs, alcohol, that want to make a better life for themselves, that want to transition and become an integral part of society again.
Absolutely, yes.
And it's a 30-day program.
Yep.
Now, is men or women or?
This one here in Bassett is for women.
Okay.
But we have a men's program in Galax, and they have two homes, so I think they can take, I think it's like up to 24. And then we have a place in Bedford that is going to be opening after we do, and that's going to be a men's facility as well.
Okay.
And they're really looking to branch out.
So someone, if they are interested, can call the admissions office, and they will walk them through.
Yes, and that line is good for both the men's and the women's facility, so they can call that line, and regardless, and we can help get them in.
Okay, so any questions at all, just call that number.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and letting people know more about your facility and what you do and the treatment options that you have.
Yes.
Because sometimes people with an addiction or trying to transition back into the world that they once knew, they're scared.
Absolutely.
They don't know what to do, where to go, who to talk to, anything like that.
Absolutely.
So they can give you a call and you'll walk them through it.
That's right. We'll give them hope and help them out the best we can.
All right. Thank you so much, Angela, for coming by today.
I appreciate it.
All right, and good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Stay with us. More Star News programming coming up next.